What's up, Libra, and welcome to your July 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kaylee Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are intriguing or important for you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep watching. I also like to say really quickly that you can use this reading for your sun, moon, or your rising sign. So you can check all three or however many you have. I only have two, so I only have two to check. However, I will just say that it's normal sometimes if they don't resonate because these are just general readings. And a lot of times the feedback that I get from people is that they may not make sense at the beginning of the month, but if they come back at the end of the month, a lot of times there are some interesting connections. So keep that in mind. And let's go ahead and get into your messages, Libra. So while I was just kind of tuning in for you guys, I had this impression coming through of someone's hands that were out, and they had a bunch of seeds in their hand, and then they were sort of sprinkling them on like a damp earth. So this feels like a very regenerative energy for you in a lot of ways, and I'm not sure what exactly you have going on this month in July, Libra, but there's a lot of promise in this energy for you. There's a very strong sense of the seeds are being scattered. You know, the way that you can create something, like start a process in your life, is really through embracing this energy of kind of like germination. And just putting, maybe even like sometimes when I think of someone, like they were sort of scattering the seeds, so there was a lot and they were all kind of falling just haphazardly. So I think that can also be a metaphor for the idea of like throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. So it could be a good idea this month, creatively, or if you're a business owner or whatever, it could be a good idea to not put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, but really diversify and focus on diversification this month in July, because I think there's going to be a lot of potential. Like there's a lot of potential around you already, Libra. And I also was seeing like page energy, like a little child energy. So you could be starting something new, or some of you could be working with children, maybe even creating some kind of curriculum perhaps, or lesson crafting, or anything having to do with, you know, working with or for something that kids are going to use. That can also be a theme. But I also feel like this is your inner child as well, and there's a real sense of playfulness and a sense of a fresh start coming through in the meditation. So I hope that's helpful for someone out there, and maybe affirming of some of the things if you have some themes like that going on in your life. So let's take a look at your cards, and I'm going to get some more specific insights for you. Libra, Libra, Libra. Very decisive pull there for you, Libra. I'm going to get your Bob Ross message for Libra. Bob Ross deck, a message for Libra. Okay. And let's look at your Surrender Oracle. seeing like a swan kind of in my mind's eye. Who did that? So we've got butterfly and deer as your animal spirit oracle cards. So if you're new to my channel, these represent the butterfly card is the vertical card in the spread. It talks about your path forward, and the deer card represents an energy that is crossing you. So it's like an influence or something that you are dealing with that's coming to you from the outer world, but it can also be an energy that is manifesting within you. And what I get here is like the phrase, a tender transformation is happening for you, Libra. I do feel that somewhere where perhaps you have felt guarded or maybe even a little bit hard, like just like a harsh feeling, like if you've had any area of your life where you felt sort of harsh about something, or felt maybe like there's a wall up and a sense of like almost feeling cold to something or just turning away. The energy that I see here is almost like a really gentle stimulation of that, basically that idea within you. It's almost like these cards are saying that you're going through a little bit of a heart opening this month in July. The butterfly itself is obviously a card of transformation, so that really tells me that maybe you have been in a cocoon in some way, Libra, on some level in your life. And I think that right now is the time where you're starting to experience the tender kind of like opening up of that cocoon. And it's so beautiful. I absolutely love to see this card for you. And I want to say too, with the deer crossing you, that it's really important for you to be gentle on yourself right now. These are both delicate cards. I think of the deer as a, creature in the forest is a very sensitive creature. It's always kind of on the lookout because it's hunted. It's a creature that has to always be very aware of subtle sounds and little things in the environment. It's always having to look out. And so I think with the deer energy showing up, it's like potentially indicating that your nervous system has been overstimulated, Libra. And you may feel like just getting grounded more is going to be really helpful. Just maybe even getting out into nature a little bit more often, as often as possible for you, given your circumstances. And the butterfly is also about remembering that a transformation this big doesn't happen overnight. So you have to find little ways that you can stay committed to your self-care over time while you're in the delicate stages of a big change. And that's something that you can do with just a couple of little daily practices that bring joy back into your life and that really reawaken your sense of appreciation and love for yourself, but also just for your life in general. It's like, where have you been closed off to that joy, Libra? Where have you been closed off to that sense of just feeling kind of like open-hearted appreciation for yourself? What have you been holding against yourself? Where have you been holding that appreciation back? And really like just release and relax that energy, okay? That's the focus in July. So let's take a look at some of your more mundane messages. Wow. As I'm talking about heart opening and healing, we've got the Three of Swords, which is like the heart wound card, and we have the Queen of Cups, which is about emotional processing. So, wow, that's all I can say. Page of Cups, Five of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, and the Ten of Swords, Ten of Wands, and Three of Wands. Beautiful. So I'm just going to look at this. All right, Libra. So I am seeing a good deal of emotional processing and healing going on, which is kind of the focus of your first half of July, basically. So when we're looking over here at these first two cards, for me, these really point to the first week of July. And that's the week that we have a full moon in Capricorn, which is also a lunar eclipse. So that's a big deal. And it's happening symbolically in your fourth house. So when you have an eclipse happening in your fourth house, symbolically speaking, it has a lot to do. The fourth house kind of represents like our deeper emotional state. In a lot of ways, it represents kind of our deeper emotions and our sense of security in life and what makes us feel secure. And so when we have a lunar eclipse there, we can feel like that sense of security is maybe undermined a little bit, or we're just having thoughts and feelings that are coming up that may surprise us and that may sort of potentially sort of shake things up a little bit in terms of our inner nature. But when we have the Queen of Cups here with the Three of Swords, I honestly feel like you have the space that you need to process these emotions. And I think that there's a lot to gain from, I want to say, almost either talking to someone in your life. Perhaps it could be a water sign person as well. They tend to be emotionally available, typically speaking. And the Queen of Cups could represent Pisces or Scorpio or Cancer in that case. Or this could be you, Libra, because you are, potentially going to be exploring in the first week of July, exploring your own motivations and your own thoughts and feelings about something in your life. And I think when we see the Three of Swords with the Queen of Cups, we can always pretty certainly expect some form of healing to come from that introspection. So if you are, for example, seeing a therapist or a counselor, or if you're doing inner work or shadow work or journaling or meditation, even anything that's kind of getting you to process astral information on subtle levels or psychological information in a conscious way, these activities are going to pay off when you get cards like this, because it's really showing that you have the space to work with them. So I do expect some kind of healing, although some of you with the Three of Swords, there could be a sense of a disappointment perhaps. However, again, I do feel like it's combined with this Queen of Cups energy, which is, sort of followed similarly in the second week of July, where we have another Court Cups card, which is more of a happy card. I think of the Queen of Cups as a happy card as well. And then the Five of Pentacles, which is a little bit more of like a sad card, but then we have it like here with this card of like inspiration. I think of the Page of Cups as a very playful, again, I mentioned inner child, I think, even in your meditation. So this is that inner child energy coming out, but it's coming out, and it could be that there are maybe situations in your life that are somewhat draining for you with the Five of Pentacles, or disappointing for you in some way. But I think the important message here is that in both of these pairings, in the first and second week of July, it's like you have the medicine is already there. Like the medicine is the Queen of Cups and the Page of Cups, which is sharing, maybe talking with somebody intimately who's close with you, or, just not being afraid to talk about things that you're thinking or things that you're going through. Or it could also be about embracing creativity. I know that there's a really lovely speech that Neil Gaiman gave at a university, I think it was in like 2015, where he said something along the lines of, like, if your spouse divorces you, like, make good art. If you lose your job, make good art. If, you experience a dramatic disappointment, make some good art. So I think there's something here about that energy precisely. It's not about shying away from whatever things may be going on that genuinely have been frustrating for you, or, you know, many people around the globe have been experiencing the energetic charge that's going on in the atmosphere. There's a lot of just energy happening, emotional energy. There's a lot of wounding coming out that we're all being asked to face collectively as a species and figure out how to deal with and how to move forward. So you could be feeling some of that, Libra, or you could be touched by some of that in your own life in some way, or it could just be totally personal. But I feel like there's something here about like really recognizing that out of this can come a greater sense of personal emotional freedom. And out of this can come a greater commitment to your inner truth and a greater sense of, as well, productivity when it comes to creative things. So definitely if you're feeling left out in any way, like with the Five of Pentacles, these cards are saying, well, maybe it's time to write that manuscript that you've been thinking about, or maybe it's time to call up that friend that has always been there for you but that you haven't talked to recently. It's about using, you know, the situation itself to generate something more helpful for you, and not necessarily about trying to avoid the situation or anything like that, but actually kind of leaning into it and asking it to reveal to you its true gift. So the first half of July is really about emotional healing for you guys. Maybe for some of you going on a more conscious, overt level, and for some of you going on more on the inner, like, yeah, the inner level, I guess. So that's kind of the focus. However, by the time we get to the third week of July, we do have the new moon in Cancer, which is symbolically going to be in your 10th house, Libra. Okay, so 10th house is career matters. And when you have a new moon there, it can relate to just powerful new beginnings, but a new moon is a dark moon. So it's kind of like that vision that I had in the meditation where, you know, you're sprinkling the seeds. That's not the same as harvest time. Sprinkling the seeds is about the feeling of promise of future growth. It's about knowing that there's a journey ahead of you that is for you, and it's about embracing your potential and feel that feeling of excitement. No matter where you're at in your life, you're going on a new beginning. You are a fresh little page. Even if you're in your 90s, you're a fresh little page right now, because you are going on a new journey, creatively speaking, or even spiritually. So one of the things I will say, though, when you have a new moon in the 10th house, it's a dark moon, so it's what is coming to you isn't manifested yet. It's not known yet what it is. And I think that is really the message here in the third week of July with the 7 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords. It's about, I want to say, like, I mean, we could look at this and think, okay, is it harvest time? I don't think so. But I do think that there is a potential of releasing maybe some goals that are no longer really speaking to your heart in some way. And really with the 7 of Pentacles, it's almost like you're kind of, it's like you're meditating on what you would like things to look like over the next, let's say, 5 years. And that could be a really good kind of project for you in the third week of July, to really think about what your goals are at this time and really let go of the past, let go of the goals maybe that you had for 2020 and realize that they're different now. And whatever you want to accomplish with your business, you might have to change some things. If you're an artist, or if you're an entrepreneur, or if you are just a creative person in any way, you might have to change your strategies, which is like the 10 of Swords. You know, it's like recognizing that the old way of doing things, it may not be viable anymore, but you have all of this promise and potential within you. And I think it really is part of your personal growth at this time to kind of be pushed to try something different, maybe different than what you were planning. So if that's the situation you find yourself in, Libra, know that it's actually, you know, Spirit is coming through this reading, validating for you that it's safe to accept that as your path and to begin to define your journey that way. And it's not you backing out of anything or avoiding anything. It's not avoidance. It's about flexibility and recognizing that you have to go where the growth is happening within you. You have to follow what gives you that spark. You have to follow what brings joy into your life, because you can try and do something that doesn't bring joy in your heart. You can totally try and do that, and you can try and persist with that. But you're probably not going to necessarily be a better version of yourself for doing that, right? Like, if we're totally honest, we're better people when we are doing something that feels meaningful to us. And some of that is an inside job. Some of that, granted, is about us working on our own narratives, working on our own attitudes. So if we do find ourselves in a situation that we can't immediately change, then we do have to change our narrative so that we have a better attitude for it. However, in life, in the broader spectrum, there's always a way to modify things if we have enough of a strategic mindset and we're willing to work with the energies that we have access to. We can always gradually change things for ourselves. And so that's kind of what I see here is like, maybe not potentially that for every situation, but for those people who resonate with that message, that is what you needed to get out of those cards. I do see at the end of July, as the sun moves into Leo, it makes so much sense that we get this burst of fiery wand energy in your cards. So we have the 10 of Wands and the 3 of Wands. And anytime I see the 10 of Wands in front of the 3 of Wands, which is how they came up here, I feel like this person is about to let go of 7 of these wands. So again, it kind of echoes that sense that I got here with the 10 of Swords and the 7 of Pentacles, that it's important to kind of prune back your goals right now and to really think about what matters to you and what specific passions you have in your life right now, Libra. It's all about it. That's what it's about. That is what it's about. It's about, with the 3 of Wands, it's about going on a journey that you want to go on. It's about setting your sight on a new territory that looks like it would feel fun to you. And that's all the prerequisite that you really need, provided, of course, that path is aligned with you, like, spiritually, and it's aligned with your conscience as well. But I do feel like it's important to, again, prune things back at the end of the month. I do see you feeling more lighthearted at the end of July, and I think that's actually going to be really useful because, again, you're going through this delicate transformation here. So you don't want to bring a lot of baggage with you. When you're trying to become a winged creature, you don't want to bring too many swords, too many wands. You want to just bring the one that matters. So let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. It says, you really can learn to be creative as you paint. It's like anything else. It just takes a little practice. Beautiful. Yeah, I think, practice and letting go of anything that makes your practice feel like it's like a burden in any way. Like, that's really where I think the modification of both your internal mental narrative needs to change, but also your outer choices and actions can change as well, Libra. So it's kind of a twofold approach. Have a better attitude means thinking better feeling thoughts that are still true and accurate. And it also means maybe you don't have to sign up to, lead weekly workshops on Zoom for your community. Maybe you don't have to go the extra mile on everything. Maybe you can also retain more of your own autonomy and your own time so that you can have more of that to put into yourself. I think that's important. So, wow, oh my gosh, right as I'm saying that, then I get your surrender card, which is surrender your addictions. Addicting maybe to people pleasing, I'm wondering. Whether you're addicted to substances, food, people, sex, or overworking, take action to begin to heal the addiction and replace it with healthier alternatives. Yeah, I mean, for some of you, this could have to do with substance. If there could be someone out there who's dealing with that, and if so, this is about getting support and getting genuine help with whatever you're working with. But I also see this for many of you as like a compulsiveness to always be busy or always be doing something for others that doesn't necessarily contribute to like your overall path. I think that it's important to, again, narrow things down right now, pare things down, prune back. It is totally okay to push some goals or some responsibilities onto the back burner temporarily. You can always come back to the ones that really matter later on. But right now, I really think simplification is the name of the game for you, Libra. And I do see you being very excited. You know, in Leo season, I think you're going to be on fire. I think you are going to be just jumping forward into a new adventure. So July could also kind of be the period of time where you're sort of laying the foundation for that, to go on this kind of next aspect of your journey, next chapter of your journey. Okay, Libra, thank you so much for being here. I hope this reading has been helpful to you. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, or just leave me a little heart emoji. I would absolutely love to see that because it shows me that you guys are still with me, even at the very end of the reading. And I know these are very long, rambly readings in comparison to what else is out there. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and subscribing to notifications. All of those things are super helpful to my channel and really helpful letting me know that you guys enjoy these readings. Again, engagement on this channel really helps support it, and it helps me to feel inspired to continue making these videos. So you guys are so amazing. I will put the donate link below if you'd like to donate any amount. That would be amazing. Also, I will put the information on the Wealth Building for Healers and Creators workshop, which is coming up next month. So definitely check that out if you are interested in building strategic, long-standing, independent financial well-being. And I'll just be sharing my tips and strategies that I personally have found useful. So if you are a healer or a creator of any kind, definitely check that out. Okay, guys, I hope you have an amazing month in July. I'm sending you tons of love, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.